Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards, and today I'm going to be showing you a fabulous project using our brand new Christmas Build a Bouquet collection. So let me pop that card in and you can see what we are going to create today. So this was actually one of the cards that I made for the packaging of this Build a Bouquet collection. But when we made the cards for the packaging, we didn't have the beautiful new paper pad. So we're going to be using that on today's project. So it's going to be similar, but I'm probably going to make a few tweaks to make it a little bit different because it's very rare that we make the same card twice. So we'll dive on in and get started. So as always, all of the materials that I'm using for this project are listed in the little description below. So please do have a look in there. You can shop all of the products that I am using online at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. Okay then, we are going to get started. So let me pop the overhead camera in and you can see what we are going to be creating. So to start off with, I have got an 8x8 card blank and I have got my little mats and layers that I've already trimmed down. So here's my card blank. So to start with, I've got a piece of silver mirror card. So we're going to start off by just sticking this on just with a little bit of PVA glue. Now I am filming this one on a Monday morning. It probably won't go out till Friday. But my glue is just a little bit cold because we haven't been in here obviously over the weekend. Let's just get a little bit of glue onto the back of there. And I'm going to stick that down flat onto my base card. There we go. Okay. And then next up, I've got a piece of our lovely Jupiter Pearl card, which I've just trimmed down. So it's just a little bit smaller than that mirror card. And we're going to stick that on the top. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you can be gutting your mats and layers. When I'm demoing, I find it a little bit fiddly to stick them on because obviously speed is of the essence at times. So I don't tend to gut my layers when I'm demoing, but of course, if you want to, you can do. So stick that onto there. Okay, and then next up, I've taken one of the lovely patterned papers from the new the paper pad that's launched with the Build a Bouquet collection. So you can see how lovely that is. So we've got like this mistletoe and berry design that we're going to use. So we're going to take that and I'm going to take a little bit of scrap paper along with a chisel tip glue pen and we're going to do a little glittery border along the edge. So to do that, I am going to use my glass slipper glitter. So I'm just grabbing that off my little trolley there. So glass slipper is like that crystalline like glitter, but it's got a more silvery chrome effect. It's really lovely. We use it on so many projects and of course it is perfect for your Christmas cards. So we're going to just drag along the edge. So I'm using our chisel tip glue pen and I'm holding that pen at about a 45-degree angle and we're just dragging that along the edge of the paper. Now if you've been following me for a little while, I'm sure that lots of you will know how to do this, but we are always getting lots of new followers on our YouTube channel, so I do like to always kind of try and go through things as much as I possibly can. So again, that little 45-degree angle and just drag the glue pen towards yourself, and what you'll find then is that'll then give you that nice straight line that we're after. So I'm going to move that scrap paper out the way because that's got glue all on, and I'm going to grab in some foam pads and we're going to just stick this down with a few foam pads just to add a bit of depth and dimension to the project. So we'll flip that over, pop our foam pads on the back like this. They feel like they're 3mm, they're 2mm. There we go. And then we can peel the backs off of these. So these are our finger lift foam pads. So the backing is slightly larger than the foam pad itself. So that makes it nice and easy to peel those backs off. Okay. Grab our card back in and we'll stick that onto there. So you can see the basis of this card is pretty straightforward. Nice and easy, pretty simple. So we'll pop that to one side, and next up I'm going to take a piece of our crystal white pearl card. Okay, so this is lovely. This is our pearl card, so it's got that lovely kind of pearlescent effect to it. I'm going to use our gilded squares dies. So let me bring the finished card sample in, just so I can work out which one I've die cut. It's not that one, I think it's this one. Yes. So it's the third size in, okay, it's the one that we're going to use for our little mat. So we're going to take our piece of crystal white pearl card and we'll grab our low tack tape. And we're just going to tape that down in place. I always like to pop 2 pieces of tape on there just to make sure it's stuck nicely. And we're going to take our base plate, our plastic shim, and then our cutting plate on the top. And then we'll just send that through our Gemini. So I'm using the Gemini 2 machine. So obviously the plates that you would need would depend on your machine. That is the combination that I'm using on mine. So then when we lift that out, we've got that lovely square, nicely die cut. And I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, but with the gilded dies, you get that lovely little debossed ridge going around the edge. So what I did on the finished sample is I used my quickie glue pen, traced along the edge and covered it with that glass slipper glitter. But I did this the other day on another project that's on the YouTube channel using the gilded wreath, and I think it looks really nice. So I'm going to do the little line in red. So we're going to take a quickie glue pen. And I have to say, I do like the quickie glue pens. I think they really do work nicely to do this little technique. And the glue flow is really good from them. It's quite even. So I'm using my Santa Suit glitter. And you just want to get your pen in that little channel. And then just trace. Using the quickie glue pen. And then, can you see how that then gives you that lovely little glittery border going around the edge? But because we've got this channel to follow, it makes it nice and easy because your glue pen kind of locks in, which is what we want. So, we'll take our glitter. And if you go off track, can just kind of go back in with your finger and just wipe the glue off. There we go. It's a little bit tricky to see sometimes under these lights in here because they are very bright. So can you see there where I've gone a little bit kind of off track? It's not quite as neat. I'll just take a little piece of card, and as long as it's got a straight edge, you can just nudge glitter back into place. Give that a little tap, and then you'd never know. Okay, so we'll continue on. And then you can see you've got that lovely glittery red border just going around the edge of that piece of card. So I'm going to pop that to one side. I'm going to put my glitter back into the jar. Okay, and I'm going to grab a few more foam pads. And we'll stick this onto our card base. Grab a couple more. Oh, I've plugged my glue gun in to make the bow. My word, it certainly smells very burny over there. So we're going to peel the backs off of these like this. Okay, and then we'll grab in that base card and we're going to stick this. Now I might put that to the bottom because that's where I went a little bit wrong. stick that onto our base card like so. Okay, so you can see how that's starting to come together now. So we're going to pop that back to one side and we're going to grab in our Christmas Build a Bouquet stamp along with the coordinating die set. So when we first did this one as kind of like an everyday bouquet, lots of you did ask if we did a die with it, and at the time we didn't, because we were kind of like, oh, I don't know that you necessarily would need a die for it, but because so many of you have asked, we've put a die in with the Christmas one. So we're going to start off by taking our clear embossing ink pad and we're going to use an anti-static bag and we're going to dust over, this is the leftover bit of crystal white card that we cut the gilded square from, and we'll grab our stamp in. My stamp is a bit glittery because we've been using this one a lot recently. It could do with a wash. So you're going to take your clear embossing ink pad. Just a little note on washing your stamps as well. What I tend to do is I save them all up, and then at like the end of the day today, I'll throw them all in the sink with a bit of washing up liquid, warm soapy water. Give them a good kind of rub. You can use a soft toothbrush with them as well to kind of get in there and get any ink off. And then just leave them to air dry naturally. And then their natural stickiness will return, so they will stick to your acrylic blocks. So we're going to place this stamp down and press. So we want firm even pressure all over the image, and then we're going to lift that off our card. We're going to take a piece of scrap paper and we're going to use one of our lovely wow powders. So I'm going to use Hollywood Hills, which is a Chloe exclusive colour. It is the most beautiful, rich, dark green. So we'll sprinkle that over. Now, where I've got some little bits here where there's obviously a little bit of tape or a little bit of static being on the card, I'm going to dust those little bits off, but I'll be honest, I'm not too worried about them because we're going to die cut it out anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. So we're going to bring this back in and we're going to use our heat tool. So we're going to hold that heat tool still, and then as soon as we see that embossing powder start to melt and change, we are going to move this over the image. Like that. Okay, so then if you have a little look, you can see how we've got that lovely glittery embossing powder on there. So that is cooled off now. I like to give it a couple of seconds to cool because the amount of times I've gone straight in there with the dye and then rubbed a little bit off. It's so annoying. So we're going to take our dye, place that over the top, tape it into place. So I'm going to tape top, shuffle down a little bit and bottom. There we go. And then we will take our base plate, plastic shim and cutting plate, and we will send, don't know if that's just moved, yes it has. There's a little bit frugal with my tape in there. Right, that can go there. Just need to cover a little bit more of the image with the tape. That can go on there, and then cutting plate on the top. Through we go. And then we'll grab this when it gets to the other side. Lift that out, give it a little wiggle. And there we go, that has cut through. Just needs a little wiggle to release. And there we go. We've got our lovely bouquet cut out. So what we're going to do next is we will take some glitter. So the colour that I'm going to use is Grasshopper. So this is quite a vibrant green, but this is quite versatile because what you can do is if you want to darken it, if you colour these leaves in a darker green first, then put your Grasshopper over the top, the darker green will show through with this one. But I quite like, because we've got nice dark embossing powder, I quite like to use the lighter green glitter. So we're going to go in and just any of these kind of little leaves, just going to glitter this up. So I'm just using my Dries Clear PVA glue. And what I always do as well on the YouTube channel, that I don't think I've actually mentioned this before, is for each collection we create a little playlist. So for example, for Christmas Builder Bouquet, there'll be a playlist on the YouTube channel. So you can go in, click on there, and then it'll play all of the videos that use the Christmas Builder Bouquet products. So that's a really good way to kind of give you some inspiration when you get this collection home. So you can see how we've got that glue on there now. So then we'll take our scrap paper back in, and we're going to use our Grasshopper glitter just straight over the top. There we go. So you can see how that's glittered up now. So if I pop that to one side, I've got one that's already dry. And what I've also done on this one is I've gone in and used some of the AB white pearls from the Everyday Essentials bling box. That one's in. So I've just gone in and added some little pearls onto the berries on the bouquet. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to do I think I'll do a double layer of foam pads with this one. I'm just going to grab some more foam pads. So just bear with me a little second. We seem to have a foam pad shortage going on in here today. Just grab some off the reel. There we go. It's me using all the foam pads on the projects, isn't it? So we'll take some foam pads, and I'm going to cut these down just so that they will fit, and I'm going to do like a double layer. Okay, so a little bit of foam pad just on the back there. You just kind of want to dot these about. I would like a little bit of foam pad just on that leaf at the top there, just so then it doesn't lift off too much. So then we'll peel the backs off of these. I'm going to put another layer on the top, so it's like a double layer, so it gives it that little bit of extra depth and dimension. So pop that onto here. Onto there. So we'll just peel the backs off of these. Like that, and then we'll grab this in. Okay, and then we're going to position that down so it's kind of near the bottom like that. Okay, so then next up we're going to make the flowers to fill our bouquet. So we've done 2 red flowers and 4 of the little smaller white flowers. So these have all been made from the Christmas Flowers Build a Bouquet set. I've got all my bits and pieces out here, and I've just thrown stuff on the top, so now I can't see them. So you do get an extra poinsettia die, but I seem to have put mine down somewhere. Okay, well that's fine. We can roll with it, that's fine. I'll put it in there. There it is. Okay, so little top tip when you're doing these. Take your piece of red paper that we're going to make the poinsettias from. I'm going to fold it into 3, like that. Okay, and then, or not, because I've not folded it well enough. Let me have a look. Right, so we want to fold our paper basically into 3. So what I'm wanting to do is die cut 3 of the flower at the same time. Oh my word, this isn't going well for me today. We'll just do it with the smaller one. So you want to make it so it's big enough do your fold so it's big enough. You might have to do it like long ways A4 rather than trying to do it on the scraps like I am. But then you can take your little flower die. So one is slightly larger than the other. Might have actually just used a small one on this card, looking at it. Okay, so you're going to pop that onto there, and then we will take our plates again. So we're going to use our Gemini machine to die cut this out. So we'll send that through. And there we go, lift that off. And then if we give that a little wiggle, we've die cut 3 of the flower at the same time. So the way we've done the stamps that match with these is we're going to give this a little dust with some anti-static, and we're going to use some Rudolph's Red Nose embossing glitter. So we're going to take our little clear embossing ink pad, and then we can take the little veins that are the middle of the poinsettias, stamp that down, lift that off, same again, stamp that down, lift that off, and the final one exactly the same again. Take this, can stamp that down and lift off. Okay, I'm never normally too concerned that I get them spot on in the middle either. They look fine if they're a little bit off, so don't stress too much about that. If you wanted to, you could stamp them first and then put dye over the top if you find that easier. So then we'll take our Rudolph's Red Nose embossing glitter, and we're going to sprinkle this over the top like this. Okay. Then that's going to go straight back into the jar. And then a lovely crafter sent me this, some toast tongs, but they didn't put the name in the envelope. So please, if this was you, please do get in touch. But these are great because when we heat these up, we can hold it, and then I'm not burning my fingers for once. So we can just quickly heat this up, that one, and then we'll do the next one. That, and then the final one, heaty. There we go. Okay, so we've got the little veins embossed onto the poinsettia. So what I'm now going to do is hold the flower in the middle and curl this between my finger and thumb. And then we're going to take a little bit of PVA glue in the middle, and then we're going to stick our flowers together. So it's almost like you're being your own kind of paper florist here. So we'll get that stuck down. So we've made one. I've got another one that I've already done. I've got over here. So I'm going to do the same again. Just curl those leaves. And stick that one there. Okay, so pop those to one side to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to show you how to make these little like Christmas roses here. So on your die set, you've got 3 different sizes of Christmas rose. So we'll grab a little bit of white carding, and you can do all 3 in a oneer through your die cutting machine. So again, a little bit of low tack. But if you've got any flowers at home as well, obviously we've kind of sized these ones to work with the bouquet. But if you've already got some of our flower stamps as well, of course you can use those on the bouquet as well. So I know we filmed a reel a little while back, so that'll be going up on Facebook and Instagram. But it was using the Christmas roses from the Gilded Christmas collection. So you can use those with these as well. So we're going to send that through our die cutting machine. Like this. And we'll lift them out. So I'm just doing these like just through one layer, and I'm using card for these. So I prefer a little bit of white card for these. I think they shape up a little bit nicer. So what you can then do is, I think it's a smaller one I need to do my bouquet, so I'll do this one because I've got some that I've already done. So again, a little dust over with your anti-static bag, and then if I bring in the stamp set, can you see you've got these 3 stamps that are just like dots, like the middle of the Christmas rose. So I'm going to take the smallest one, pop that in the middle of my stamping block. We will ink that up and just position it down in the middle and press, lift off. Then we can take our metallic silver sparkle embossing powder, tap that over, and we'll use our little tongs again to hold this. There we go. Heat that up, and then you've got the little centre of the flower nicely embossed. So pop that to one side. So I'm going to grab in my base card, and I've got a little bit of pin flare glue here. I'm hoping that I've squeezed it to the end. Of course I haven't. I filled this up earlier because I knew we'd need it for this demo. If not, I've got a tube over there. We can just use it out of the tube. Just try and give it a little unblock with the pin. It always happens to me in here, doesn't it? Right, we'll pop that to one side. Just use it out of the tube instead. So we're going to use a little bit of pin flare glue to just start arranging the flowers. So what I tend to do is I like to lay them out first. So have a little look and see where I want them to go. Then with the little Christmas roses, you can just go in with your fingers and just curl the petals between your finger and thumb. Okay, so we've got a bigger Christmas rose up there, one down there, one there, and one over here. You can see how this is starting to come together now. So you kind of build a bouquet, gives you the base as to where to stick everything. Go on there, and then we'll put this little one just down here. So you can see how that's coming together now. Now what I've then done is taken some heat resistant acetate, and on the Build a Bouquet set you get this kind of branch stamp. So this is lovely to tuck in behind your bouquet. So I've done 2 of those, and I've just stamped and embossed them in Hollywood Hills, but you can see how this then starts to build your bouquet out. So you can tuck that in kind of underneath like that. And then also on the set, and I have done these ahead of time just so they were dry, you get these little kind of berry sprays. So what I've done is embossed those in Hollywood Hills and then added my pearls onto them. And then I've done the same with these little sprigs, but I've glittered them with that Grasshopper glitter. So then we can add these in just behind. Tuck one in there, tuck one over there, and it's this building up that helps to add the depth and the dimension to your project. Whereas if we'd kind of done all this, it wouldn't look as dimensional, but this makes such a big difference. So add this one over here. Okay, so you can see how that is then looking. Okay, and then what we can do is take some jewels So I've got my everyday essentials here. So I'm going to add some jewels into the middles of my little Christmas roses. So I'm just going to go with the crystal clear ones. Okay. Just squeeze that glue down into the tip there. There we go. And we'll just grab some tweezers. Pick those up, okay, and then from the middle of my flowers I'm going to use a little sparkler. So I've got a couple of smaller ones there, and I'm going to have a larger one as well, but I'm going to colour these. So I'm going to use my alcohol marker, so a red Copic. I'll just stick these on a little glue dot because it makes it a little bit easier. So stick that onto there. Stick that one onto there, stick that one onto there, there we go. And then you can take a red Copic marker, okay, so I've got a couple of different ones here. I've got lipstick red and I've got cadmium red. Let's try this one first. But you can take your Copic markers or any alcohol markers and just colour over the top of the sparklers. Like this, so that then colours them. Like so. So we'll pop those to one side just to give them a few seconds just to dry off. Okay, and while they're drying, we're going to create our bow. So to do that, I have taken a piece of our Jupiter Red pearl paper and I've taken our bow die. Okay, so on this piece of Jupiter Red pearl paper, it's been covered with a double-sided adhesive sheet. So we're going to send that through our die cutting machine. Now taping that on is a little bit tricky, so I'm just going to send it through very carefully like this. So that's going to go through our machine. We're going to use our Santa suit again to glitter this one up. Okay, so we'll lift that away. Give this a little shuffle. So we've got our little tails, we've got the bow, and we do have this little centerpiece as well, but we're not going to use that on this particular project. So we will take these bits, rid of my bow die there. Just pop my plates away under the counter. There we go. I'm going to take my scrap paper back in as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to peel the back off to start with. So completely up to you. If you want glitter on the inside and the outside of your bow, put your double-sided adhesive on the front and the back of your Jupiter Pearl card. Then both sides, pearl paper, sorry, then both sides will be sticky. If you just want it glittery on one side, just pop it on the one and then like I have here. So we can peel the backs off of those and peel the backs off of the ribbons as well. Sorry, this is literally like watching paint dry, isn't it? Isn't it watching me struggle here? There we go, that's that one. And then we'll do the same with this one. Peel that back off. Come on. There we go. Right. I actually think I prefer this one to the one I made for the packaging. I think I prefer the colours. But anyway, it gives you two options, doesn't it? So what we're going to do now is lift that bit off there. Hopefully not stick that to our paper. Please don't stick. And then we'll take our Santa suit glitter. We'll sprinkle that over the top. And you want to rub that glitter in to your double-sided adhesive. So then if we take that off, There we go. One down. And then these little bits as well. And then that remainder is going to go straight back into the jar. Okay. And then we'll take our bow. Now, on the original, I just did a single bow. So if you want to do that, what we're going to do is take, I'm using a glue gun because I like the way it grabs nice and quick. But if you're using a glue gun, please be very careful because obviously it is very hot. So we're going to take a little bit of glue just into the middle. I like using this because it like grabs straight away, and obviously I don't have much patience, so this works well. And what we're going to do is just fold the two sides of the bow into that wet glue like that. You do need to hold it just for a little second, just until it starts to cool off. There we go. So we'll just wait a little second just while we let that grab. There we go. That's grabbed. Give it a squish. Right, so that's the first part of the bow. So if you want to create just a single bow, you can add your little ribbons onto the end of there, and that would then be your single bow. Now, if we want to do the fancier double bow, we can take our second one, a little bit of glue in the middle, like that. And then again, we'll fold the two sides in. So one, and we'll just hold that in situ. Two. There we go. And then we can take these and cross them over like that. Okay, so actually, not quite enough glue. Wondered if my glue was still just wet enough there. Well, hot enough, I guess, really is the right word, isn't it? There we go. So then we can take these, cross them like that. That is then going to make your double bow. Okay, and then we can take our little ribbons. I am actually debating whether we need this bow die in a bigger version as well. I feel like it's just really useful. So then we can put that there, put that bow on there. Just get rid of all of the bits of hot glue that are now stuck to all of my fingers as well. It's a good job I'm getting my nails done soon. So then we'll put a little bit of glue on there. Stick that onto there. Okay. A little second just to grab. And then we'll take our larger sparkler that we've already coloured. Not too bothered about the glue dot because I'm going to put a bit of hot glue on anyway. There we go. Okay, and then we can grab our base card back in. Okay, that's going to go onto there. And then we can take our little tag. So this is from the Christmas Tiny Tags, and I've die cut this just from some plain white card. And then I've got our little With Love at Christmas stamp. So we'll ink that up. Can stamp that down. Lift off. Okay. So grab our card back in. And put that to one side. I'm going to add my sparklers into the middle of my flowers. A little bit of hot glue in there. It's got glue dot on, so that will be fine. Stick that there. Lifty lift. There we go. Those petals. Okay, and then we can take our bow, bit of glue onto the back of there. I'm going to stick that onto there. Take our little With Love at Christmas And then we'll take a foam pad. So we're going to take a foam pad just onto the back. Stick that and we'll just tuck that in the side. And then to finish off, what I would like to add is some little jewels just in the background. So I'm just going to use my little sparklers, and actually I might just use these little, no, we'll use the little crystal clear ones. So then what you can do is just dot a few little jewels like this. So these are the self-adhesive sparkles that I'm using. So I'm just using the smaller ones. I can just dot these in and around. And what I would do is when the card is dry, take a big makeup brush and give it a good dust over, and that will get rid of any of the little glue trails from your hot glue gun and from your any excess glitter. So a nice big soft like blushery powder face brush. Please don't use it for your makeup afterwards, otherwise you may be looking very glittery. But yeah, that's what I would do to finish that one off. So that would then be your finished project. So I'm just tidying up in the background here, just so then I can pop the other camera in and then you can have a look at this card. So let me shuffle these stamps along, shuffle that along. It's just me blocking all the camera angles. So we'll put this one here, and then if I stand that one up next to it there, and then if I pop that camera in, there we go. So you can see this is the one that was made for the packaging. This is the one that we've just created. And actually I will probably add the 3 little jewels in the corner. I quite like that going on the original. But you can see the difference there in the 2 projects. So that is using the Christmas Build a Bouquet collection. So I really hope you've enjoyed creating that project with me. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we are always posting lots of ideas, lots of inspiration and lots of crafty projects. So please do have a look. All of the materials that I've used are available to shop online at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk, and all of the details are in the description below. So please do have a little look in there. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye.